Okay, let's get the freehand block done. I've got my registration lines where they need to be. For the center one, I think you're going to find it much easier if you just put dots right here rather than putting all those lines in there, because it gets really hard to see when you're trying to do the motif. So just the dots as to where your ruler work is going to hit its points, and then you should be good. Okay, so we're going to do the ruler work first. I'll start in this corner. No rhyme or reason, it's just the corner to start in for me. And I'm using orange thread. This is Glide, and it's pumpkin seed, one of my favorite colors. And we're mixing straight lines and curved lines just because I think it's going to look good. I forgot to put my stitch regulator back on. So we're going to work all the way around the block. Now I'm not going to be traveling in the ditch at all. Maybe 1/4 of an inch for an echo, and that's going to be it, because this thread is thick and it's orange, and my fabric is white and purple and turquoise, as you can see, and heavy orange thread is not going to travel nicely in the ditch. It'll scream and we'll see it and it will look awful. So I'd rather stop and start than try to make it hide in the ditch. It's just not worth it for me. Now with the echo, I want a 1/2 inch spacing and then 1/4 inch, because that's going to fill up the triangle quite nicely without being too heavy. So I've got my 1/4 of an inch line on my curve, and I'm just going to stitch right up to that chalk line. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. I used my blue water-soluble marker in the white, and then in the dark colors where I couldn't see the blue line, I just used my chalk pencil just so I could see it. So you may have to do that. And we're just going to work our way around the block. I'm in love with the motif for this block. And I know when you probably looked at the files, you thought, oh my gosh, she's crazy. Well, I am, but when you take a design, it doesn't matter how difficult it looks, when you break it down into the baby steps, like I did in the files for you, anything's possible. You just break it into steps, do one step at a time, and before you know it, you have a beautiful design that looks pretty complicated, but isn't when you break it down. I couldn't see past the camera for a second there. Now for the 1/4 inch, I've got my line, but I've also got the foot of my machine. And that's enough line work in that purple for me. Now here, in your drawings, you'll notice that I've drawn just straight lines with a 1/4 of an inch echo. I drew it a couple of different ways. I gave it the echo, and I put curls in it with a little leaf, and I've left it blank. They both look good in the drawing, but I'm just going to basically wait until I'm finished the block, and then I'll decide whether or not I want to put in that extra curl. So here's where I'm going to sneak, and it's only 1/4 of an inch, so I don't mind doing that. And I left it with the full 1/4 of an inch echo here, just because I wanted it to look different than these. Just a variation. One more stitch, there we go. So I know it's a lot of stopping and starting, but sometimes that's what you need to do. So what you're going to get is this is going to look like a diamond in the square, and then this is also going to look like a diamond that goes behind this block. It's quite cool, actually. If you're using a thinner thread or a matchy-matchy thread or something that's going to sink inside your seams, you don't have to stop and start all the time for this particular thing. And if I knew for sure that I was going to put that little curl leaf motif in all of these spaces, I would do it at the same time as I do the ruler work. I wouldn't just do it all and then come back, but I'm really not sure how I want this block to look. And to be perfectly honest, I have filmed this block about 6 times. The center motif anyway. So I'd rather take the time and not put something in there that I decide at the end I don't like. All right, now we'll do the center, and we're going to do the center motif while we're here as well. So we're going to start at the bottom, because when we've done the ruler work, then we can just go right in there and get that little design done. So I'm going to lock my threads in the bottom point, and I'll use my straight ruler first. Now, before I get down here, this curve, just like in your drawing, this is just to give you an angle to do your leaves with. Switch out to this nice soft curve. Okay, now I'm going to follow that line with my leaves and put them in. Nice big curl, back, poke that little leaf out there into the corner. Come back, follow it all the way down, and then just that little curl coming this way just to fill in that space to the bottom, and done. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that lovely? I love it so much. All right, so now we're going to do the 4 corners. In your files, you will have seen that I said make sure you doodle this on a 45-degree angle because that's how you're going to quilt it. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to go up and do the leaf first, leaving enough space underneath the leaf to do that curl afterwards. Up, down, curl, leaf, and back. Now this curl is going to come up all the way around, backwards, up and in. Now this little one goes this way. Why? I don't know. I just liked it. And then it left me a little bit of space to put a leaf in right there. Now what we need to do is get rid of this thread, and I should have cut it earlier. There we go. Because we're going to go straight in and do this one at the same time. So this one, the leaf is going to come up and come this way. Nice big curl. Leaf sticks out the bottom. Bring it back. Big curl out there. And back. Curl. Follow it back to about there. And then pop another leaf in right there. Lovely. Now on this side, I've got them positioned so that the top two, these two curls are going to come together. So on this one, we're going to start here again, right in the center. And my leaf is going to go up. My curl's coming into the center. Put that leaf there. Follow it back down. Big curl right here to fill in that space. Backwards. Follow it up. And then here we have this one. Follow it back. And then put a baby leaf right in that spot. And I almost did it again. Forgot to cut my thread. There you go. You don't want to drive over that. And down. I know what feels weird. I'm in stitch regulated mode. I'm stitching away thinking something doesn't feel quite right. I forgot to take my regulator off. Well, it's working out well. So what happened in here, my curl came and my leaf, I brought my leaf in a little bit too far, so this curl ended up being quite small. I don't care. I'm going to leave it like that because I think in the grand scheme of it, it's going to look just fine. I'm going to do this one first. Little curl backwards. That just fills up that little corner. I'm going to stop right there and cut my thread. And honestly, it is okay to have variances in all of these designs. So see how big that curl is there, and that little one up there is fine. Honestly, unless you buy a computer or have a computer and you want to digitize, you know, do your designs digitally, not these ones, please. They're going to have variations in them, and just let them have variations in them. They're beautiful. This design is going to look good in any triangle. Think of how pretty this would look in a flying geese block. Wouldn't that be lovely? Last one. Bring it all the way down. Big curl in there, fill in the space, bring it in. I'm just going to move that out my way. I love it so much. You don't have to use high contrasting thread. You can use regular thread, or matching thread, I mean, if you like. So let's just get rid of these blue lines. Scribble them out. I think I need more liquid in my pen. It's getting dry. I'm shaking it and I can't hear anything. So I think it's empty. There we go. Wow, I love it. So I should have just quilted in these spaces when I was there, because I knew once it was going to be finished it was going to look kind of plain, and it does. So we're going to fill it in. We're just going to do that little curl with the leaf sticking on the top to fill up into that triangle. So they're all going to be stops and starts for me, but that's just the way it is. So you can decide beforehand whether or not you want these little motifs in here. All right, so basically it's just up, down, into a curl. We're going to pop that little leaf on the top, and then when we come down here, we'll do the second curl, bring it back right to that spot. Really simple, and it would have made a lot more sense to do it in the first place. But I didn't, so that's okay. All right, and I want them directional, so I'm just going to do them all the way around. To say ta-da. Yes. Ta-da! Hope you love it.